This is Gene Simmons, and this is his iconic custom-made LeBeau bass. Gene bought this bass around September 1972. It was no longer in use after a fistfight, or a roadie mishap, or a theft, or loaning it out, or another theft. Whatever it was, this bass is now gone. But where is it? What happened to Gene's favorite bass? Hey guys, Tom Taylor from Rock News Desk coming at you. This is a cool story as told by the fire-breathing, blood-spitting demon himself, Gene Simmons. The story he told was about his iconic LeBeau bass, so I decided to dig a little deeper into the story than just what Gene said. We all know Gene Simmons is known for his tongue. He likes to show it off, he likes to make jokes about not showing it off because the floor is dirty, he likes to flap it on stage, and he likes to flap it to give his opinion on just about anything under the sun. While he's well known for his talk, have you ever heard about an actual physical altercation involving Gene? Well, here's a story you may not have heard. And be sure to stick around till the end of the video for that deep dive and an interesting twist to the story. A couple years back, Gene told this on the Dean Del Rey podcast, Let There Be Talk, about a time he punched a guy who was watching the Kiss show from the front row on one of the early Kiss tours. Now, let me preface this by saying Gene likes to embellish a bit, so the details of most of his stories tend to change over the years. The story was prompted while discussing the basses and bass gear Gene had used over the years. He told a story about a bass he purchased at a discount from a pawn shop way back around 1972-ish, when he and Kiss co-founder Paul Stanley were still in pre-Kiss band Wicked Lester. According to Gene, the bass was a Fender Precision that had humbucker pickups. He described it as sounding like a monster. He purchased it as a damaged item for a discount of $150. When it came time to record the Kiss demos at Electric Ladyland Studios in New York, he had that bass with him. Stephen Stills was also at Electric Ladyland to record with Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and he needed a bass to use on a track. He asked Gene if he could borrow his bass, and Gene handed it over. After using it to record, Gene thinks the song may have been Love the One You're With, although the dates don't match up for that to be the case. Stills asked Gene if he could buy the bass from him. Gene, not really having a ton of money at the time, said, "Oh yeah, $300. Stills pulled out a wad of hundreds, peeled off 3 of them, handed them to Gene, and walked away with his Fender Precision bass with the humbuckers. This event led to Gene needing a new bass to play and record with. He had heard about a guy named LeBeau, who made custom basses. In one version of the story, Gene said he had him design a bass for him. In another version of the story, he said he saw the bass on the wall at LeBeau's store. Either way, he said he bought the bass and used it until it literally broke in his hands. He explained they were about a year and a half into their touring, back when they were driving everywhere together in a station wagon and doing 6 shows per week. They were at a stop on the tour and a guy on the front row was throwing pennies at the stage. One of the pennies hit Gene and he said he went after the guy. I didn't care. I flew off the stage with my heels and everything. Thank God I didn't break my back. And landed on the metal divider, between the audience and because he was right in the front. And I clocked, I got him. I grabbed the guy, my bass was there, and the thing that stopped me was my bass hit that metal thing and broke. The neck broke in half. But I got the guy, and I clocked him good, and he went down. But that was the end of that bass. Being a Kiss fan, this is the kind of story that's always fun to hear. It's a really cool story for more than one reason. I mean, Gene bought his bass from a pawn shop, then sold it to Stephen Stills for twice as much money, then had a custom bass built that he broke because he dove off stage to punch an idiot who was throwing pennies at him. And first of all, what kind of moron throws pennies at the stage? Second, he did it from the front row. And then the guy he's throwing pennies at is 6'2" and dressed like a demon from hell. Could you imagine what Gene looked like diving off the stage with intentions of destroying somebody? So let's talk a bit about that LeBeau bass. And then let's see if we can figure out exactly what happened to it, because I don't think Gene's story holds much water. There are pictures of Gene using it on stage up until mid-1977. Gene made a lot of changes to it over the years. It was painted all black before the Kiss Alive tour. Over the years, he changed the knobs, trimmed it in white, and changed the bridge a couple times. Gene was using other basses while on tour, but really seemed to like his LeBeau. He used a Gibson Grabber and even acquired another Fender Precision, but the LeBeau was used most often. Since the bass was taking a lot of damage from being his main bass every night, Gene began making modifications that would protect it. To the backside of his bass, he added a leather pad that was placed there to keep his codpiece from scarring up the back. In January 1976, he even added a leather piece with studs to the front of the bass. It looked cool and unique, but it also functioned to protect the finish. It went through many versions, but Gene seemed to love that bass. Now here's where the twist, or twists, come in. The custom-built LoBue bass Gene says he broke may or may not have been broken. There have been different accounts of what happened to that bass. Gene told Dean Del Rey he broke it when he jumped off the stage and punched a guy in the face in the early touring days. In 1979, he told Guitar Player magazine, "I used that bass for about 4 years until one night I threw it to my roadie. That one night he dropped it and the neck broke in half." Spiro Papadopoulos, from a Kiss tribute band, you've probably seen him in the GHS Strings ads, said Gene told him the bass was stolen while it was out for repair. In 2013, Gene told the story of using the bass on stage in 1982, falling off the stage, and breaking the neck in half. He said he gave the pieces to a member of the audience. But here's the only story that seems to have an actual corroboration. In the mid-70s, Gene discovered a talented guitarist named Mickey Free. He was a guitarist in a band called Smokehouse. If you recognize the name Mickey Free, it could be for a couple of reasons. One, for a short amount of time, he was part of Prince's entourage. Charlie Murphy mentioned him in the Dave Chappelle skit where Prince and the Revolution played Eddie, Charlie, and their boys in a shirt versus blouses pickup basketball game. And two, he joined the group Shalimar and had hits on the soundtracks for Beverly Hills Cop and Footloose. In 1996, Gene told Metal Edge magazine Mickey Free needed a bass for a show and Gene let him borrow it. He said he never saw it again. And Mickey Free once said Gene loaned him that bass and it was later stolen from Mickey's car. So there you have it. You can make up your own mind and come to your own conclusions as to what happened to Gene's iconic bass. Personally, I think it's much more likely Gene fell off the stage and broke it than it is that he jumped off stage to punch somebody and broke it. But I'm still going to go with the Mickey Free story. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Let me know which story you think is most likely. Take care.